In this video, I'm gonna give you all the tips you need to get to know Fernando de Noronha, one of the most incredible destinations in the world, but with a lot of important information. Environmental taxes, things you need to pay, how to get around the island, what's the food like, what are the main beaches, can I visit all of them, can I go diving, all the tips you need to plan your trip without any hassles and make the most out of Noronha, guys. So don't forget to give us a like, that thumbs up, it's very important for us. Subscribe to the channel and buckle up. The first important piece of information, how to get to Fernando de Noronha. Fernando de Noronha is an archipelago a bit far from the mainland in the northeast, and you need to take a flight there. As the island is small and unspoiled, there are few flight options and this makes flights more expensive. So if you've already started researching tickets, you have seen that tickets to Fernando de Noronha aren't that cheap. So what do most people do when they go from other places? They take a flight to Recife or Natal, which are two cities that have direct flights to Fernando de Noronha. So for example, if you're in São Paulo, Brazil and want to go to Noronha, you have to take a flight that connects in Recife and then take another flight from Recife to Noronha. So do some research, look at the prices, but it's not cheap compared to other destinations in Brazil. If you're somewhere closer, you'll be a bit better located and you will pay less. If you're far away, you will pay more. But do your research, go in advance, and you might find a good deal of flight. But in general, you have to make these connections before you go to Noronha. Once you get to the island, it's small, so it's super easy to get around and stay well. It's not a big place where you need to study the map or the place beforehand, so it's a place where logistics and getting around are easier, so you can rest assured that once you get there, you take a cab or an airport transfer, and then 15 minutes later, you'll be at your hotel. It's all very smooth, very easy, because it's a very small place. And now, when is the best time to visit Fernando de Noronha? The temperature all year round, whether you're thinking of a hot climate or not, it's warm all year round. You can enjoy it all year, just like the whole of the northeast region of Brazil. It follows the same line, but there are months that are different. There are two seasons, the dry months and the rainy months. We always recommend that for these destinations in the northeast, you focus on the dry months because you'll be able to do the tours and enjoy the beaches. In the rainy months, you'll be able to enjoy the heat, you have a great day at the beach, but probably it will rain in the end of the day. It may be cloudy one day or another and you'll be drizzling all day, so it can compromise things a little, but that doesn't mean it's a bad time. It all depends on when you can go, how the prices are. The dry season, which they call seca, which means without rain, with less rain, it lasts from September to March, so those are the months that we think are the best for you to visit there, with the exception of December and January, which are very crowded, much more expensive. It gets crowded, but there are limited numbers of people, so everyone wants to go and prices skyrocket. So try to avoid December and January. November and October are very good months, and then the rainy season is from April to August. I try to avoid April, June, July, August. Try to avoid them because there's a lot of rain. It can spoil a bit. Traveling with children, is it advisable or not? Depends on your style of travel, because you're staying there, it's super quiet, super easy. The hotels and inns there have a very nice structure. The problem will be some of the more advanced trails that you might not be able to do with a small child. So you're not going to do one or two trails that are more difficult for you to access the beaches, and you're going to use the beaches that are easier to access. So in my opinion, I think it's fine, unless you want to explore the whole island, then it's not worth it. Then try to go on your own or when your children are older, but in my opinion, it's a place that's easy to go with a child if you don't expect to do this more advanced trails, so that's no problem. Where to stay in Fernando de Noronha? There aren't many options. The most famous, and in our opinion the best place, is the village of Remédios, which is the tourist center of Noronha. You can get there very easily from there. You can go to all the tours, do everything, and that's where most of the inns are. There are cheap inns, expensive inns, and very expensive inns. The price varies a lot. Take a look around. I'm going to leave the link below. I'll put some pictures for you to see of two inns that we already know very well and that are very good. There's one that's cheaper, simpler, but very good. A delicious breakfast is included. The hotel is super clean. We didn't have any problems. And there's another hostel that's a bit nicer, which is a bit more expensive, but offers a nice hostel structure, bigger rooms. So take a look, research these two, which are very good, but do your research. On the website I've linked to, you'll find several others. Look at the map, check the price. Sometimes at the time you're going, a good one is much cheaper, so go by the price, because the hostels there in terms of location are almost all very similar, but I'll give you the links to help you choose the best hotel or inn for you to enjoy your trip more. Nice tip about the website we use to book hotels. It's a strategy we use that usually helps us save a lot. It's advance notice. In the world of tourism, any city, especially Noronha, which is very limited and very touristy, the earlier you book your hotel, the cheaper it is. It's their automatic system. You book rooms and the price of the remaining rooms goes up. So if you already know you're going on a trip or you're planning to and you're still not completely sure about your ticket, don't bother. Like the hotel, see a good price. This website is great because it has a free cancellation option with almost all the hotels, so you can make the reservation, guarantee the price. If you need to change anything, cancel anything, it's no bureaucracy, one click, it's super easy. So we've been using this a lot and we've saved a lot because the earlier you book, you see that the prices are cheaper and then they go up week by week. How to get around Fernando de Noronha. If you want to travel more cheaply, there are buses. There's a bus there that costs 5 reais, runs more or less every 30 minutes and practically cuts through the whole island. It goes along the main avenue, it's super quiet. You can use it, it's 5 reais, but there's just one problem. No problem, it depends on each person. When you get off the bus, many beaches and access points will be far away. You often have to walk for 20 minutes, sometimes even longer, and sometimes up very steep trails to get to the beaches. If you want to use the bus, just be aware that you'll be prepared, but you can. There are cabs work very well there. You spend between 25 and 60 reais a ride. They're kind of fixed, so you say, I'm going to such and such beach, he'll charge you the right price. I'm going to such and such restaurant, they already have that kind of price list, but it's between 25 and 60. Uber doesn't exist, there's no point in trying to use your Uber app or whatever, it's just cabs. And there's the option of renting buggies. There are several buggies available for rent. In our opinion, it's worth it if you want to explore the islands. Take it for 1-2 days. You don't have to take it every day of your trip. Plan those days to take the buggy and spend the whole day exploring the beaches and research which ones you want to visit first, because then it's worth it. It's a nice ride, it's super enjoyable. You can usually find buggy rentals for 300 reais a day in the low season. You can share it with whoever you're with. It's a nice ride, but it's not necessary. If you want to get around pretty much on foot, you can, and with the bus there, but there are other ways and many options. It's gonna depend on your travel style. Fees you have to pay in Fernando de Noronha. This is different from other destinations, so it's good to let you know. There's a fee that's charged per day for everyone who enters Fernando de Noronha. So 3 days or so before your trip, 2 days you will pay this fee online. There's a table. It starts on the first day at 97 reais and goes up, but the daily rate goes down. So for example, I've just looked up the 7-day rate and it's 650 reais. So you look up on the tab, you pay online. It's super easy. It's on their official website, but you have to pay a fee according to the number of days you'll be traveling. More or less, calculate about 80 reais per day. That's more or less the amount, just to give you an idea of the number of days. And there's another fee you have to pay, which is for access. You can access the Fernando de Noronha National Marine Park for 10 days. It's an incredible park. What does the park mean? It's an area of the island that has the most beautiful beaches, the Baía dos Porcos, lots of cool things that you can only access if you pay this amount. For Brazilians, it's 165 reais, if I'm not mistaken. It could be a little more, a little less, but it's around that. And for foreigners, it's 350, I've heard. So do your research carefully, because these are fees you have to pay. The first one is mandatory, the other one is not, but you're going to Fernando de Noronha and you're not going to see the most beautiful beaches in the world, so everyone in the end has to pay the fee, but it's not really compared to the cost of the trip. So it's really just a little amount that you have to pay before you travel there, so you have to pay attention before. Speaking of paying and bills, how do you pay for things in Noronha? Some places and larger restaurants, inns usually accept cards, but there are places that don't, they only accept cash. So go with a decent amount of cash. There are only 2 ATMs on the island. One at the airport is a Santander branch, which has a 24-hour ATM, so it's not so easy to access. My tip is to go with a good amount of cash. Try to prioritize cards a lot. Where cards are accepted, you swipe them. Where they aren't, you can use the cash so that you can have cash for other things. And the meals. We're talking about expenses, so let's talk about food, which everyone says is expensive in Noronha. It's true, it's more expensive than other places because Noronha is isolated. They don't produce anything there. Everything is brought in by sea or air, and that makes things more expensive. So a beer or a snack you pick up will cost twice as much as in other cities. So prices are more expensive, you're already prepared, but there's not much to do and nowhere to run. There are cheap options, you can save money. There are some very nice restaurants that are buffet style. You pay around 35 to 40 reais for a full meal. They're simpler, more economical, and there are others that are nicer with seafood where you order a portion to eat near the beach. Then you spend a bit more, about 100 reais, 120 in total per person. It's a bit more expensive, but there are economical options there and there are more expensive ones. You just have to see which ones you'd like. And now for the tours, do I do the tours or do I do it on my own? You can manage quite well on your own the beaches with the best access, but I think it's great that you do some tours. Why is that? Because there's the boat trip around the island, for example, which is very good to do with a guide. We recommend doing it on the first or second day because you'll practically be going around the island and you get to know it. He'll explain to you that this is such a place, this is such a beach, that's Baía dos Porcos, one of the most beautiful beaches in the world. There are lots of nice beaches, the Hill of the Two Brothers, you see lots of different things and you get to know where things are located. There's a very good website, I'll leave the link down here along with the link to the hotels and inns. It centralizes all the main accredited agencies. They are super selective, so they only have good companies that are really officially accredited, and they have all the tours there. So take a look. There's this boat trip with snorkeling that's really nice to do on the first day. Then there are several dives along specific beaches. There's also scuba diving. For those who like to venture out, there's the baptism, as they call it, for beginners and the more advanced ones. You go with a guide, you scuba dive. It's one of the most beautiful places in the world, so there are lots of great excursions. Go to this website because just by looking at the tours, you get a better idea of what things you want to do and which you don't. There are the trails. There are trails, and an important tip about there is a lot of trails where you have to book a time slot because there are limits on the number of people. There are about 20 people a day, so I'll make another video later. But if you want to go on a nice trail, a really nice trail to get to a different beach, take a look because there are these main ones that are reserved. You have to follow the procedure, you have to go there. It's near the Tamar project, which is very nice to see, and then you go there one day to book. You have to do it in person because they'll try to sell you the tours, so you have to go there because they want to offer you something. But if you don't want to, it's fine, but then you need to book for the next day or for the next few days, those trails that are more reserved. And there are also the quieter beaches that are easily accessible near the edge of Remédios, which you can get to easily. You just have to make some research of which ones you want to go, which tours you want to take, and then some ones you have to book. What are the most beautiful beaches in Noronha? That's a very difficult thing to say. There are some that are a little further away, the ones that are in that marine park I mentioned it. Baía do Sancho and Baía dos Porcos are very nice beaches, but they're more restricted because they are part of an ecological preservation area, so you have to plan ahead. There are no chairs, no beach facilities, but there are also the other beaches that are easier to access. There are kiosks of people selling things. You can take your things, your chair, your umbrella, it's more relaxed. I'm going to list a few, but you can also do some research and see which one is closest. There is Praia do Porto, which is very nice, Praia do Cachorro, which is very beautiful, Praia do Meio and Praia da Conceição are all close to the hotel zone, to the village of Remédios. These are super easy to get to, the most easily accessible. There's also Praia do Bode, there's the Cacimba do Padre beach, which is very famous, especially for surfers, so there are plenty of beaches to choose from. Do your research, then when you're there, people say, wow, I went to that beach yesterday, it was really nice. That way you can pick up tips, but rest assured that you won't see any ugly beaches. One is more beautiful than the other. It's really, all of them are beautiful. You don't have to choose. And that's it, guys. I hope you liked the video. If you like it, please don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the channel because it really helps us a lot. And don't forget to check out the other videos, which are very good. I'll leave them here alongside the really cool videos so that you can continue to enjoy your trips in the best possible way. So thank you very much, guys, and have nice trips.